Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chai with Us podcast. This is episode number 60.
I think so.
Oh my God. Okay, I think this is episode number 60. I am Erica, the personal developer. You can also find me online at Emotional Freedom.
Hello, and I'm Ivana from Oakland Isabel.
Yes. Okay, so today we are going back to our personal growth topics and what best way to start the thing as to talk about ways of starting your personal growth
hmm
journey. That's what we're going to do today. Share our best advice on that.
Yes, that's right.
Before we start, do you want to share how did you start your personal growth journey? I think that would be interesting.
I think mine just started with a book. It's How You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I really enjoyed that book, and it was one of those things where it took some time to read. Like you don't just read it, like you have to do some exercises in it, and then take time to reflect on it. And I think that's when I really started my personal growth journey. What
Wow,
about
with a
you?
book. Did someone suggested you the book or you just grabbed it by internet?
They did, yeah, but it also kind of I think I was always coming across it, and then someone
Mm,
suggested it, and I just picked it up, and I love that book. I highly recommend it for anyone that's looking into
okay,
wanting to
okay.
start personal growth. What about you?
For me, it was a little bit different. I was living a very sad and strange life,
Mhm.
ending up in same situation all over again. And then I decided that I wanted to change my life.
Mhm.
I was already doing yoga and meditation, which created the space to actually think that
Yes. Yeah.
something needed to change. So
Mhm.
it started with, I always talk about this challenge that I did on Oprah and Deepak Chopra meditation.
Mhm.
So that was like the start of everything. I was meditating, but at the same time, I was journaling about my life. So this was
Mhm.
like a great start. And then I just started looking for how to be happy, trying to do all sorts of personal growth exercises and watching a lot of Lisa Nichols videos. Like, I love her, she's amazing. Yanna Van
Mhm.
Sant. So they got me starting. And then, of course, I've read The Power of Now by Eckhart
Oh
Tolle.
yes.
This
Yeah.
was the book that changed my life completely.
Mhm.
This was the book I was already into the personal growth thing, but
Mhm.
this book really changed things for me because
Yeah.
I feel that when you start your personal growth journey, there is a tendency to look at the future a lot,
Mhm.
and to kind of bypass the present with affirmations and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
the power of now was just like a big personal growth transformation thing. So that's how I started. But
Mhm.
sometimes it's really hard to point out
Yeah.
like what
It's
made
true.
what.
I think both of us also because of yoga. I think yoga
Yeah.
it just leads you to personal development on its
Hmm.
own because
Hmm.
something happens when you're doing all these movements in your body and you're releasing all these stored emotions and it
Hmm.
creates space for you to really explore yourself. I think
Yeah.
that's the first time I realized oh okay, if I move a certain way then this I can feel this way and I did never had thought
Yeah.
about that before.
It is so true. And there is one thing that people always say about yoga that you don't feel it until you experience it. That it's just
Mhm.
like how whatever you do on the mat, you are going to take to your daily life. And
Exactly.
I was
Yes.
noticing that I was not reacting to things the same way that I was. And I
Mhm.
knew it was because of yoga, because
Yeah.
I was rehearsing all this, breathing and being
Mhm.
patient and not push and just,
Yes.
uh, breathe before I try to get into some
Mhm.
crazy pose. And you are right. I think everything started with yoga, to be
Yes.
honest, right? Because
Yeah.
yoga came first. And I believe that yoga is personal growth.
I think so too.
If you look at the
Yeah.
philosophy and you compare it with everything that people share on personal growth, it's the
Mhm.
exact same thing with a new look,
Yeah.
more suited for our ears, right? But
And
it's pretty much the
understanding.
same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
I
yeah.
would completely agree. Before yoga, I was a slave to my emotions. Like I would just let my emotions ruin my whole day. And after yoga, it's not like that. Like something changes within you and you realize you are not your emotions. Like
Oh, yeah.
you can feel differently. And I love that. I love that yoga has taught me that.
Yeah, it's so true. I wasn't expect to start this with yoga, but it's true. That's where everything started. Like, well spotted.
Yeah.
um, so talking about someone that is like, okay, I had enough, but I
Hmm.
don't know where to start. Like, what would you
Okay.
advise them?
Start figuring out who you are as a person. Start by like, what are you more than what are your likes or dislikes? What is your dream? Like define your like what is your life goal and what is it gonna take to get there? I had two very conflicting life goals. I wanted to be an attorney and I also wanted to travel the world. And
Hmm.
unfortunately you cannot I mean, I guess you can do both on just different times, but it's hard. Like the
Hmm.
way that I wanted to travel the world was to go for months at a time and explore different countries and be immersed in cultures and eat the good
Hmm.
food and meet the people and learn about their rich culture. And as an attorney, you just cannot do that because you have a full-time job and you only get maybe 2 weeks of vacation every year.
Yeah.
So my dreams were very conflicting and but I fulfilled both of my dreams. I became an attorney and then after some time I realized I didn't want to do that anymore and I wanted to travel and so then I quit my job and I went and traveled. So I think easily starting off your personal growth journey is defining like what is your life goal and what are the steps it's going to take for you to achieve them.
Hmm. I think you said a very important thing, like figure out to really decide what is it that you want, and to
Mm-hmm.
be
Yes.
and to be really honest about it. I do find that some people don't even know who they are,
Yeah.
and so they really have no idea. So just to speak, I remember talking to a friend and I was like, but what do you want to do? And she was like, I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
what do you like? And she was like, I don't know everything. I don't know. And she was
Yeah.
so freaking confused. This was a long time
Mm-hmm.
ago, this conversation. Um, and I do think that there is a way that helped me a lot, for me at least, which was to take a look at people I admire
Okay.
and figure out the characteristics of these people,
Mm-hmm.
and and see what do they have in common, because
Okay.
at the end of the day you can be whoever you want to be, right? You can build
Mm-hmm.
yourself up, because maybe you are not the person you want to be right now. maybe
Right.
maybe you are behaving like, from the inside I believe that we are who we are, and that's it. But then we add a lot of layers, because of
Mm-hmm.
depression we suffer from society, other people, from ourselves, and then it's very hard to see what's inside. But we are always attracted to certain things and people. So
Sorry,
okay.
I just had to check something.
So yeah, so I would advise people to check like who they admire, what are they doing, what is so inspiring about those people that you admire, and maybe this
Mm-hmm.
is an indication of who you want to be, and what do you want to give to the world. For me, it
Yes.
helped me a lot to write about these women that I admire, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I want to be like that, and
Mm-hmm.
then I discovered that I am like that, that I
Yeah.
have it in me. So it was a good help for me.
I also love
So
what you
mhm,
said, it helped you to write. I think
yeah.
writing is a great tool for you to realize like who you are as a person and what your goals are and what you want to achieve. Because
Hmm.
it helps you like really like process your thoughts when you put it
Yeah.
down on paper and then go back and read them. And also I've realized that like I love going back to reading journals maybe a year ago and I'm like, wow, I've
Oh,
changed so much. Like I can't
yeah.
believe I used to think this way or acted this way or this is what bothered me. Like these things are so minute now, so
Yeah.
it's a great self-reflection tool is to write a journal.
Yeah. I do think. I also believe that there is no right way of starting your healing
I
journey.
agree.
Your
Yeah.
healing. I'm so sorry. I'm always talking about healing online, and I'm like,
Yeah.
your personal growth journey. There is no right way of starting. Like, I
Mhm.
think you can go to a Tai Chi class and just have an illumination and just start
Mhm.
there. If you have no idea, amazing. Make the decision, do your research. I think that the most important thing right now is just like, do your research. Do your
Mhm.
research. Like, what is it that is lacking in your life? Are you feeling
Yeah.
extremely anxious? Did you lose a parent? Did you lose a child? What is happening? Have you been through trauma? And you need to address that before you go and do other stuff. I
Mhm.
think it's the journey will depend on the person, and I think we can say
Yeah.
a lot of books and a lot of things, but in the end, I think that the most important thing is that you decide to go on a personal growth journey,
Yes.
because once you decide, you will find a way, right?
Yeah. And I think it's also important to note that once you start your personal culture, it's a lifelong thing. It's not like,
Mm,
oh, you just do this for like
yes,
1 month and you've read this book and you're like, okay, I'm finished, I'm done,
you
I've
wish.
completed my personal growth. That's not how it works.
Forever. Yes, thank you for saying that. This is so right. This is forever, and you
Mm-hmm.
will see that as soon as you start your personal growth journey, you are going to heal from some things, and you are going to
Mm-hmm.
change certain behaviors, and you are going to realize that there is a lot more work to do,
Yes.
and that's okay. And that's,
Mm-hmm.
you are so right. It's forever. It
Yeah.
never ends. It never ends. You are
Mm-hmm.
right, and that's a good thing, because otherwise, what's the, like, so boring? That would be so boring,
Right.
right?
But I think it's so beautiful that you have the power to change who you are as a person once you start on this journey. Like
Yeah,
sometimes we think like we're just are the way that we are and we can't do anything about it, and that's not true at all. Like
yeah.
in the book that we just read, oh my God, what was it called?
The unfuck yourself.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, and he was all about like start now, start
Mhm.
today and just start on your journey, and don't wait for this magical time when you're going to feel a certain way to start something. No, like you need to start now and then it's going
Mhm.
to start to happen. And I love that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this part where he says, like, you know what, just decide. Are you willing?
Yes.
Are you willing to change, or are
Yes.
you not willing to to change certain things? And that's
Mhm.
it. In the end, it's just like, let's make the decision. It's not easy, okay?
Mhm.
So it's forever, and it's not easy. And sometimes the deeper the thing is, the harder it is.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, but it makes your life easier, but like way easier. So, but it's wonderful. Seriously.
It is.
If I think of myself about 4 years ago, I am not the same person at
Yes, I
all.
agree.
At all. I don't have the same people around me,
Mhm.
and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have the same job, which is kind of normal during this,
Mhm.
during these uncertain times. But I do have a job that I enjoy,
Yeah.
and it's just like everything is so different. And inside, most important thing is inside. It does
Yeah.
not matter what happens to me. I know I'm gonna be all right.
Mhm.
It is crazy, and sometimes the universe, like, things happen, right? And I recently lost my father. And if I wouldn't have done my personal growth, if I
Mhm.
didn't work on myself, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would be standing on my 2 feet
Mhm.
now. I don't
Yeah.
know, really. I really doubt, seriously, what would happen if I didn't start this journey long ago.
I like what you said. You said that you don't have the same people around you anymore. And I think that is so true because once you start this personal growth journey,
Yeah.
you're going to be a different person. And so the things that attract the people that are around you might not attract them anymore, and they're going to start to fall away. And
Yeah.
at first, it might be hard because you're trying to hang on to them and you don't want
Mm-hmm.
them to leave because all you remember is the fond memories you had with them and the
Mm-hmm.
many years you've known them. But what you realize is that you're not the same person anymore. And
Yeah.
now you two probably clash with each other and it's just not the same relationship anymore like it used to be. And once you can let go and not hold on to these people anymore, you're creating room for new people to enter your life who are much more compatible with you as a person now. And
Yeah.
I think that's what you have to remember, like whoever leaves, they're going to be replaced by somebody else and
Oh
it's probably
yeah.
going to be better. And you
Yeah.
have to remember that you are a product of your environment, so you are a product of the people you surround yourself with. And so once you surround yourself with loving people that care about you, really care about you, then you're going to feel much better about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not to say that everybody needs to go away. Like, I mean, you can maintain people, and I did maintain
Right.
some people, but I did change a lot of dynamics of relationships. I
Mhm.
and Jay Shetty talked a lot about this, at least before, because right now I'm not following too much. I'm reading the book, but I'm not following him too much. But I remember he talking about the importance of time, and that
Mhm.
time is very important. And if you have this person that is always putting you down, go
Mhm.
have a coffee with them for 15 minutes in
Mhm.
between meetings, and that's it. Why do you have to stay an entire afternoon with this person? I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this is right. I don't want to ruin the friendship. I don't want to not
Mhm.
have this person in my life, but I get to decide. Well, first of all, have boundaries, which is one thing that you
Yes.
learn with your personal growth
Yes. I
journey,
agree.
for sure. And then I get to decide, like, who am I going to spend time with? I'm no longer spending entire days with these people. I have
Mhm.
coffee with them once
Yeah.
every 3 months if I do want to. You know what I mean? And yeah, and it feels so good to be
Mhm.
like, I have supporting people. People
Right.
are supportive and they're good, and it's a good feeling.
Hmm. I think you'll also start to realize how you're doing on your personal growth journey once you start setting boundaries with people and how they're responding to your boundaries. I think that's like one of the first tests to see like how you're doing, because boundaries are hard. I think it's I could we could do like a whole podcast on boundaries. I don't know if you
Yeah.
already have done one, but it's very difficult to establish boundaries because we feel like we're letting other people down when we say no to something. But what you're
Mhm.
instead of saying no, you're actually saying yes to yourself. And that's what you
Yes.
have to remember. You're saying yes, like I in this moment, my happiness is more important than saying yes to this other person. So if I don't want to do something, then I don't want to do something. I don't have to give an explanation.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
still
Yeah.
struggle with this because I always want to explain why I can't do something, and you don't have to do that. Like you just can say no, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it doesn't. I don't know if I am explaining myself, or if I just sometimes I just want to be considerate. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I will be like, but I will not make up excuses,
Mhm.
right? I will not be like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm so busy today. Like work just came up. Like I'm not in the mood. I will be like, you know what? I'm drained. I'm
Yeah.
dead. I'm sorry, can't. I'm gonna take time for myself today.
Mhm.
And and that was hard. And let me tell you, at the beginning, it feels like shit. You're gonna
Yes,
feel
it does.
horrible
Because you
because
feel like
you
you're
are,
letting people down.
yes, that's it. You feel like you're letting people down. But then it's amazing. Then it's like, yes, ha, time for myself. I'm the best.
It's true. It's so true.
Mhm. What was the most important thing for you? I'm asking this question. I don't know how to answer, but what was the most important thing for you that you have learned on your personal growth journey?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
It is, it is, it is. I know, I know. I'm
Let
thinking.
me think
Hold on.
about it. What was the most important thing I learned on the personal growth journey? Um, that no matter what happens to you in life, you're gonna survive it.
Hmm.
Um, that your opinion matters and that your self-care matters. So it's important to say no to other people if you need time to yourself to meditate or just to decompress from the day or just to sit in silence and in quietness.
Hmm.
And let's see, it's important to pursue your goals
Mm.
passionately and go after them with
Yes.
what you have. Because what's going to happen is, like, what happened to me is I had this goal, like I said before, of traveling the world, but I kept pushing it away and I kept pushing it away and I kept saying, oh, that's not a realistic goal, or I'm going to do that later. And I just kept on pushing it away. And what happened is that everything around me pretty much created a way that I had to pursue that goal. You know what I mean? Like everything kind of came together perfectly where I quit my job, I got out of my
Hmm.
lease, I left my
Hmm.
apartment, I left the city, and I was able to travel. So everything kind of aligned. So, like stop pushing your goals away, but start embracing them and working towards them.
Yeah.
What about you? It's a tough question.
It's a really tough question, and you were so good. You had great answers. I'm going to try to be different so people can have other perspectives. I would say that healing is possible. I've learned that healing is possible, important, and achievable,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you have been through some like crazy things, and you'll be like, I'm never going to be able to overcome this. And
Mhm.
it's a lie. You will be able to overcome it, because it is possible.
Yeah.
I really agree on the goals thing. I will just say it's important to have a vision.
Mhm.
Sometimes goals change, but I do know where you were coming from. But for me, to have a vision and having somewhere to go was so important. It was so
Mhm.
important, especially because healing is important, right? So there's, you go and you look at your past and you figure out what happened, you accept it, you deal with it. But
Mhm.
then moving on is also important, right? Because otherwise you're going to be stuck over there. And how do you move
Mhm.
on? You move on with a vision, because
Right.
then you have something to look forward, and you have less time to look at what
Mhm.
happened, and you are like, okay, how can I do this? How can I give the next step? Uh, and living in the present moment is important as well.
Yes.
That's what
Mhm.
um, yeah. So I would say addressing the past, living in the present moment, and having a
Mhm.
vision are the most important things
Yeah.
for your personal
I
growth
like
for
that.
me. Oh, I like that as well. That was good. But it's a very tough question. It's a very tough
Mhm.
question. And I'm trying to think of something really personal that I have learned. And it's that, it's also that I can, it doesn't matter what I go through, I will be able to overcome it.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how many times
Yes.
I fall, I will
Mhm.
always get back on track.
Right.
That was something that I was scared of when I started the journey, which was like, I'm doing all these things, and I was scared of going back to the old habits.
Okay.
But no, you don't go back, because once you know
Right.
you're not going to go back there,
Mhm.
because it doesn't make any sense, and
Mhm.
you already learned how to do different.
Mhm.
And I know that I will never go back to that. and
Yeah.
and it's a good feeling, because I at the beginning I was scared. And I know every day I set a boundary, every day I take care
Mhm.
of myself, every day I don't skip yoga.
Yeah.
I know that I am not going every day, that something really effed up happens and I
Mhm.
breathe instead of reacting. I know that I'm
Mhm.
not going back. So that's this reassurance is like everything for me.
Yeah. I agree.
Hmm.
I think it's great that you mentioned that because you never go back to the person you were. Like no matter what you do, you're gonna do something that's gonna change your thought process, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden you're gonna start acting differently.
Yeah, yeah, and you're gonna have tools. It doesn't matter
Yes.
what happened. You can have a step back, but you have tools to get back up, and
Right.
quickly, which is the thing. Like you say, oh, this work is forever, like this sucks. Yeah,
Mhm.
but the thing is that you are going to do something so automatically. Like instead
Mhm.
of being depressed for 15 days, in 2 days you are back to life, like
Right.
nothing happened. And woof, quality
And
of
I think
life.
it's also like at the beginning, the work might be hard because
Mm,
like you're trying to change your thought process. But as you progress on the journey, it actually becomes enjoyable and you want to do more
mm.
personal development.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. Oh my God. I love this topic because, you know, I imagine people, starting their journey in one way and then
Hmm.
turn into a different person that they never thought they could be, which
Yeah,
is what happened to us. Like we weren't what we are right now.
it's true.
We were different people. Um, I just wanted to add that when we're talking about having a vision and having goals, it's not only about material things.
Right.
Like, have a vision of where you want to be emotionally. Try
Hmm.
to see where you are, who's there, but like also how you feel,
Hmm.
because things, maybe you'll get them and you will feel differently if you chase things. But if you chase a certain state, a certain experiences,
Yeah.
then it's different. I think it's important also to mention that.
I think because it's more fulfilling, like an experience is something
Yeah.
that you'll treasure. I think you acquire, you'll enjoy maybe for a few days or weeks, but then afterwards, the enjoyment is going to go away. But an
Hmm.
experience is something that like you can always cherish because you can remember how you thought about it and what you felt while you were going through it.
Yeah, and there is something magical in the journey
Yes.
because when you get there, like seriously, it doesn't matter what you achieve. You're gonna celebrate for 10 minutes. Maybe you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
brag for three
Yes.
days, and then you go back to yourself with your
Mm-hmm.
insecurities and stuff, and that's it. So the fun part is actually the journey, and
Yes.
it's working to get there, right?
I actually have a bracelet that I received as a gift, and it said the joy is in the journey, and I love
Oh,
that.
message for you. You receive
Yeah,
tons of messages through this podcast.
I know, right?
From time to time, you receive a message. That's amazing.
Yes. Mm. Did you want to add anything else?
No, I was going to add that my juice is over, so we gotta go. I'm joking. No, I don't think I want to add anything. I think that
Yeah,
we summed it up pretty well.
I think so
And I
too.
think that it's good to leave in the air some space for people to be
Mm-hmm.
themselves and find their own way.
Yes,
Uh, and that's it. I want to add, please um, give us a thumbs up and follow and whatever. If you want to write us and something like that, do so. That's what I want to add.
yes. Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you have
Mhm.
a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.